السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا آمين يا رب العالمين. So here we are with our Surah Taha, Nahw and Sarf in Quranic Arabic Grammar session number 178. So let's start with a quick recap of what we have done in our last session. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we were doing verse number 61 of Surah Taha, and we were learning the cases when maful mutlaq will be there, but its amil is not going to be there. What do you understand by amil? What is an amil of a fail? What is an amil? Or not an amil of a fail, what is an amil? And a simple definition. Yes, barakallahu feek. Yes, barakallahu feek. Yes, whenever you see something that is going to make a change. For example, if I ask you, in Jumla Ismiya, what is going to be amil? Mubtada is going to be amil, right? Can I say in Jumla Ismiya when inna comes, it becomes amil? Barakallahu feek. Yes, in case of inna sentences, you are going to say amil is inna. And that is why I've been emphasizing time and again that you are supposed to say ismu inna and khabru inna. Do you know why now I so much emphasized in the beginning of our course that you have to now call anything which has inna wa akhawatuha, ismu inna wa akhawatuha, you cannot call it mubtada. It's not the one and the same. Similarly, when you have kana, what is going to be the amil in that kana sentences? What do you think? In kana sentences, what is bringing a change? What is going to do the, yeah, so kana, yeah, in the same way, that is why you are calling ismu kana or khabru kana, because kana came and changed everything around, right? So it's few things that we must need to keep in mind. Tell me one case where there is no grammatical ruling for amil to be omitted, but Arabs always omit amil in this particular case. Give me one example each. You can give me subhanallahi. So here, in case of, maful, I was talking about maful mutlaq because that is what we have learned in the previous session. So ma'azallahi, barakallahu feek. Give me more examples. Subhanallahi, ma'azallahi, ahlan wa sahlan, shukran laka, right? Hamdan laka. All these, right? Everyone should be able to type at least one example. Barakallahu feek, Sister Faiza and Sister Zuhra. Ghufranaka. Is it Ghufranaka? Ghufranaka is use of a masdar where we are using it as a yeah, in that case also you are seeing omission of amil. You're just seeing ghufranaka, and ghufrana is a maful mutlaq, can be maful mutlaq for an omitted fail. Yeah, barakallahu feek. When you are making dua, you are making dua. You there is a case when grammatically you have learned, you have been taught that it is a case where it is wajib to omit the amil. Then there are cases that sisters have brought to my attention during this session that there were cases where we were seeing the case where we saw an amil there, but there along with maful mutlaq, right? So the cases that you have learned in your last session were that they are taught in Arabic. Just when you learn Arabic as a language and Arabic grammar, it is not the Arabic as language, it's mainly Arabic grammar. This is how things are taught, that there are going to be cases when it is wajib for your the amil form of mafulu mutlaq to be omitted, and those few cases that you have learned, anyone remembers those cases that you must know at the top of your finger? You must know them by heart. Yes, it is considered to be dua. Yeah, you can consider it as a dua. So it is most of them were aslubut talb, as Sister Faiza is typing. And those were amr, nahi, dua, which is also comes under the, both amar and nahi as well, but we can consider it as a separate entity too. And then istifham. Barakallahu feek. Tell me one harf that you have learned in the last session, one harf in the last session that you've been taught, after which it is said that maf'ul mutlaq is going to be will be by itself without fail mentioned. Imma, imma, barakallahu feek. Very well done. Very well done. And then if there is a repetition of maf'ul mutlaq, then you see the amil is going to be omitted. If there is a hasar of maf'ul mutlaq, amil is going to be omitted. If maf'ul mutlaq is present after illa, you are going to see omission of maf'ul mutlaq. If you see it in a innama sentences, which is ma kafa wa makfufa, you are going to see maf'ul mutlaq omitted. Barakallahu feek. I'm very pleased to see that you guys paid attention to your class and alhamdulillah were able to memorize most of the stuff and you have retained. One thing I will again like to go back, and I know we have covered it in our last session, but just I would like to spend a couple of minutes on that. What were the amil for maf'ul mutlaq? There were three that you have learned in your last class. Amil for maf'ul mutlaq. Is it always fail that makes maf'ul mutlaq mansoob, or there are other options as well? Just a real quick. First thing that should come to your mind is anything that can act as a fail can be an amil for maf'ul mutlaq, and those include your masdar can act as a fail, right? And sister Nida has written, and then asmaul mushtaqqa, derived nouns, those derived nouns that are derived from masdar itself, and ism fa'il, maf'ul, sifa mushabbah, etc. Okay, everyone with me so far? So these were the three amils. Then comes another discussion where we learned about different types of maf'ul mutlaq. I want each and everyone to be very well versed with that, and but that is what I'm going to restrict myself to in this session, and I would like to start with today's verse number 61, and we have covered the part before Saleh sign, and now we are going to start with waqad khaba maniftara. So waqad, wow, you must have gone over your Arabs by yourself. So sister Rashida is saying that she is going to call this wow halia. What about the rest of the sisters? What do you think? I need answers from other sisters as well. You agree, Sister Faiza? Barakallahu feek. Anyone else? Can you call it wow halia? Everyone? Now the class is very quiet today. Not sure. Okay. So what is missing here, which is making you confused about labeling it as Wauhalia? What is there, my dear sisters? Is there anything there that is making you double-minded about it? That it looks like it mostly halia sentences, if they are fail madin, are going to be beginning with waqad, waqad, waqad. If there is fail madin coming as jumla halia, it will either have qad in the beginning or wow in addition to qad. All of you remember this point? We have covered hal in our fourth term or third term, something like that. So we have learned that usually if jumla failya madwiya comes as hal, it is going to be having wow or qad, or both of them. Okay, so now comes the sister Rashida brought this point that one thing that could have caused the confusion in this case is that there is no ayad or the pronoun, right? That could be the reason that rest of the sisters are saying that there is not waqad khabattum, but like khabattum, if you and then you will be destroyed if in case you are doing the fabrication. There is no anta or antum here, right? Here, the sentence started with La taftaru. So la taftaru, what is the pronoun here? There is waw al jama'a, right? And it is antum, right? Because the sign of mudare is ta, so we know the pronoun here sitting here in this field nahi is, or fi'l mudare majzoom is antum. Okay, so then comes your La taftaru, and there is no antum here. When you do not have antum in the sentence coming after it, is there anything else that can be there and that can suffice? What do you think? Yes, you do not have an ayat or a pronoun which was antum in your jumla halia if you label it as waw halia, but is there anything there that can help you still connect it to the previous sentence? What do you think? I see no answers. Okay, let me see if I have an answer. Barakallahu feek. Yes. So I would like you to know that whenever you have any sentence, whenever you have a sentence that comes as a hal, you need to have a connector that connects hal to sahibul hal. Is this clear to each and every one of you? If it is, type 1 now. When a sentence comes as a hal, we need a rabit or a connector that connects hal to sahibul hal. This connector can be waw al halia and can be a pronoun. Or we have learned it like that, everyone, right? When you look at Surah Yusuf, verse number 16, وَجَاءُوا أَبَاهُمْ إِشَاءً يَبْكُونَ. Yabkun, how did these brothers came to their father at night time? They came crying. This yabkuna is fi'l mudare, and this is jumla haliya fi mahalli nasbin for wabil jama'a, for the brothers of Yusuf, that is being used for brothers of Yusuf. Do you see any waw here in this verse of Surah Yusuf, verse number 16? You are not seeing any waw, my dear sisters, right? There is no waw before yabkuna. It is not yabkuna, wow. There is no waw halia here. Do you see a pronoun in fail yabkuna that goes back to sahibul hal, which was wabil jama'a, right? You are seeing wabil jama'a in your fail mudare that suffices as a pronoun that can go back to ja'u. They came. How did they come? They came crying. So yabkuna has a pronoun in it, which goes back to pronoun here in the main sentence, ja'u. Is this clear to all of you? And this pronoun is sufficient. This suffices as a connector between hal and sahibul hal. Your sahibul hal is wawil jama'a in fail ja'u, and your hal is jumla haliya fail mudari yabkuna. When you look at these two verses from Surah At-Tariq, innahum yakiduna kaida. Indeed, they are plotting a plan. They are scheming a plot or a plan. Wa akidu kaida, and I am planning as well. So while I am planning as well, so this is these two sentences. Do you see any pronoun in the next sentence in verse number 16 of Surah At-Tariq that goes back to the previous sentence? Because if there was a hal here, in this case, the sahibul hal is going to be the pronoun waw. But in this case, there are two different sentences. You are not seeing any ayat that you have been learning so far, that there is going to be one sahibul hal and then there is going to be a hal for that sahibul hal. Here, you can still call it, while they are planning, they are scheming up bad plan, Allah is planning his good plan. Okay? And these two actions are happening side by side. Is this clear? You do not have any pronoun But do you have anything here that is connecting the two sentences? You can see it on my slide that it can be waw al halia that can suffice as a connector between these two jumlain. Make sense? Yeah, now you are going to, if you are going to call this akidu qaida, if you are going to call this akidu qaida as jumla halia, you are going to label waw as waw halia. Is there any different name of this, as it is not hal of the first one? Yeah, there is, you can label it as at, but if you are going to make the connection as, you know and as these two actions were happening side by side, while they were plotting, what is hal? There is something the hal is telling that this action is happening in a condition, and that condition does not necessarily have to be the condition of a doer, or it does not have to be necessarily um, a condition of a done to, right? Sometimes you have seen hal in jumla ismiyas as well. And sometimes, it can be, I was eating apple while the sun was setting. Now, while the sun was setting, the sun was setting, right? It is not about, it is not describing, I was eating apple. Yes, I was eating apple, but the description is of the sun. The hal is basically while the sun was setting. This zarfia, this adverbial phrase is going to be the hal, can be labeled as hal. But it will be, the condition, what was happening around me, what was the condition around me, that will can still, I would say, suffice as hal, that I was eating an apple while the sun was setting, because this while, in Arabic can be, changed to wow, and I can make the connection, or without even wow, I can just have a zarf, a jar wal majroor, or adverb, any other adverb, and I can say that, this is, my this is the hal for while I was eating the apple. Does it make sense? Or is it, or did I confuse you? Yeah, because there are many times we have seen this happening in Quran itself. Yes. So sometimes if you do not have if you do not have a pronoun in a sentence that is coming after, if there is no pronoun in a sentence coming after, the wow by itself can suffice. This is the point that I would like you to know. Sometimes a pronoun may not be there, okay? But the wow can suffice as a connector. Basically, you need to know what connects sahibul hal to hal. And these connectors can be a pronoun. It can be a pronoun. The connector can be a pronoun, which is in Arabic, aid, or it can be waw al halia, which is a har, right? It's a har, and it can be present before it. When you do not have a pronoun, you have this waw al halia. There must be either one of them. It is not possible, one of them must be there. Okay, just keep that in mind. There should be some connector present for something to come up as a hal, except for the cases when you are seeing, jar wal majroor or zarf as your um, hal phrase. Otherwise, you will see, if there is a sentence, and listen carefully to what I'm saying, because when a sentence comes as a hal, we need a rabit or a connector, and that can be a pronoun. If the pronoun is absent, then waw can suffice as a connector between sahibul hal and hal, and this is, describing that, while they were planning, Allah was also planning. And these two things were happening side by side. What was their condition? The condition was such that while they were planning, Allah was also planning. And this is how you are going to make connection between these two sentences. One way of making connection between these two sentences. Okay. So now there are cases when you see the waw halia present, and there are cases when you are not going to see waw halia being there. So I'm just going to quickly go over them before I go back to my verse. So here I have shown you the placement of wow. If your jumla, if your sentence is beginning with la nafiya, no need to add wow. You can see in Quran, Surah An-Nahl, Wallahu akhrajakum min butuni ummahatikum la ta'lamuna shay'a. Allah, He brings you out from the bellies of your mothers while you do not know anything. So here, there is no waw halia present. When ma is there, it is preceded by waw al halia. And you can see, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُم. So here, in this sentence, you are seeing both. Can you notice that? That in this case, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ, they try to deceive Allah and those who have believed. وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُم, while they only deceive themselves. Here, waw halia is also there, and there is ayat that is going back to the main jumla, fi'liya, fi'l mudari. When there is lam, it is permissible to omit waw. You may have it or you may not have it, and you can see here in Surah Al-Baqarah, fanzur ila ta'amik wa sharabik, lam yatasanna. Lam yatasanna, there is no waw, but this jumla can be the hal for ta'am and sharab. Do you all agree? What is there in this sentence that is connecting this jumla failure to the main sentence, to the main theme? What is going to be the sahibul hal? What is the sahibul hal here? Not who, not who. Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, it did not. No, 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 not this ha, not this ha. This is sin, nun, ha are the root letters. Sin, nun, ha are the root letters. The huwa, that is the mir mustatir in yatasanna, that is connecting it to the main sahibul hal. And who is the sahibul hal here? The food and the drink, right? So it is, it did not go bad, right? So there is a connector there. When you look at lam yamsashum fanqalabu binimatim min Allahi wa fadlin lam yamsashum, that has not, so they returned with the name of nima of Allah, while the evil did not touch them. Here, you are not seeing any vow, but you have home here, that is going back to the main sentence in qalabu, that has vow, and home is sufficing as a pronoun in the jumla halia, and you don't need a vow here, right? قالت أن يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر. How can there be a child for me while a human being has not even touched me? So here you have waw before lam. With lam, it is permissible to omit waw, and it can be there, it may not be there. Okay. Here, there are both waw and ya al mutakallim. Both are there as a connector. Can the ni for li? Oh, yes, they both are present here, and that's what you have a li here, and you have ya mutakallim here in the sentence, that is serving as an anchor, as a connector, for it to be connected to the main sentence that it is coming up as a hal. So when it is lamma, it is optional to have waw al halia, and you are seeing the examples that I have, both have waw al halia, and you are also going to see that it may not, it is an option. So if you don't see it there, still your jumla can be jumla halia. With mudare, do you ever see waw al halia before mudare? Usually in Quran, do you ever see mudare coming up as hal with waw in the beginning? Usually you won't, you won't see, right? You don't see it. Okay, let me see what happened here. One second. Let me see what happened here. So here, this is Jumla Fi'liya Mudari, right? Jumla Fi'liya Mudari. And there is a waw before it. What could be the reason that the waw was inserted here if we are labeling it as waw haliya? What could be the reason for waw to be here in Surat At-Tariq if we call verse number 16? Um, because you are not seeing any. Yes, because there is no pronoun that is coming up as rabit. It does not have pronoun as rabit. So here waw al-haliya is acting as rabit or a connector, right? Barakallahu feek. I'm glad that you have understood it. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So then in case of fi'l madin, it is optional to have waw al-haliya before qad with ayat. If there's a pronoun in fi'l madin, it is optional to have waw al-haliya. If no ayat, then qad must be preceded by waw al-haliya. Waw al-haliya. Is this getting clearer now in your minds, my dear sisters? Hmm? So now if you have any issues, because you have seen, you have always learned that if my sentence is beginning with mudare and mudare is coming up as a hal, that jumla is not going to be preceded by waw. But when it is preceded by waw and you see all the books are calling it waw al-haliya, or if 5 books are calling it waw al-haliya, then this is the rationale behind calling it as waw al-haliya, because there must be a connector. There must be a connector. It can be either a pronoun or waw, or it can be both. Okay, both are going to be present as well. So I hope this is clear to all of you. In case of jumla ismiya, you are going to see if no I, then waw haliya must be present. And what am I doing here? What is here coming here? I think I have mislabeled it here. It is not supposed to be jumla ismiya. So if no ayat, then waw haliya must be present. Okay, the last slide is telling you that if there is no ayat, waw haliya must be present in that case. Okay. So, or if there is no waw haliya, then you will see that there is a pronoun that is going to be there. Either one of them is present, okay? One of them is going to be there. If it is clear to all of you, type 1. If you're all with me so far, type 1. If you call this waw now, Isti'naf, I have no issues with that. If you have read it as isti'naf and you want to call it that this is a new thought, and new sentence is beginning, I am fine with that idea too. But if you call it wawul halia, as Sister Diba said in the beginning of the session, this is the reason why she can call it or label it as wawul halia, and the sentence is going to be fi mahalli nasbin, because it is jumla halia in that case. If you call it isti'naf, waw al isti'naf, a new beginning, what will be the status then? Barakallahu feek. Yes, it is going to be la mahalla lahu min al i'rab. Very well done. Okay, now comes, so Musa alayhi salam told them, woe to you all, do not fabricate against Allah a lie, otherwise and a punishment will reach you, will be opened up on you. While and certainly he is destroyed whoever fabricates. Okay, then comes the next verse number 62. Before I talk about fa, I would like you to jump into the sentence and see what is happening in the sentence. And tanaza'u, what kind of a sentence is right in front of your eyes? And everyone and anyone should be able to answer this in this class, that what kind of a sentence. This is an easy question. Everyone should be able to type answers, because the reason I'm not saying I'm not picking on you, I'm just I want you to be participating, because without participation there is no learning. I told some sisters, okay, don't type, and they said that we will lose interest. We can, if you stop us from typing, we will not be able to engage, we will not remain engaged. So it is so very important to actively participate and learn, because if you make mistakes, that is how I know that this there is something that we need to go over again. Okay, jumla failure, and it is fail madin, as you have told me, and I agree with you all. After finding jumla failure, fail madin, the next step is the file. So who is the file? Waw is the file. Wawil Jama'a is the name. Amrahum. Amrahum is going to be mafulun bihi. Amra is mafulun bihi. Hum is majroor bil idafa. Majroor bil idafa because it is mudafun ilahi. So the status of hum in amrahum is going to be jar. Bainahum. Muta'alliq bil fail. Barakallahu feek. Amrahum bainahum. Bainahum is going to be muta'alliq bil fail. Hum is going to be again majroor bil idafa. Wow can be atf, very well done. Asarru, asarru, and this again, simple. Fail madin, wal file, wabil jama'a. Everyone should be able to answer this much. And an najwa, an najwa. So this is going to be mafulun bihi, very well done. The fa in the beginning, what do you think? Can we say that Musa said them this thing, and then they, started this tanaza'u? Can we call it fa al atf? How many of you think it can be rightly? It will be okay to call it fa al atf, right? So you want to call it atf? Okay, very well done. I agree with you. But if somebody comes up tomorrow and tell me, okay, my book says this, it is istinaf. Is there any problem with that? I don't have any problem with that. Okay, because many scholars, there's a lot of debate on istinaf and atf. But if something is making sense, that one event happened and then they, they talked among themselves and they did a secret meeting, um, and this is telling you what happened, the tartib and taqib. Tartib and taqib. Remember that. Tartib wa taqib, if it is doing the function of that, you can call it Paul atf, and that's going to be perfectly right answer. Okay. So if I have to label this word is nasb in status. Where is the sign of nasb status? How will you call it mansoob? Fatatul muqaddara, because it is an ending with alif. But very well done. Barakallahu feek. Qalu. Again, easy. Everyone should answer. Jumla failure, fail madin, wal file, wawil jama'a. After every qala yakulu comes your makulul qawl, and this is going to be your makulul qawl. Everything that I've highlighted is going to be your makulul qawl. Makulul qawl is always nasb in status. Makulul qawl is always nasb in status in Nahw. Is this going to be the right statement? True or false? False. Very well done. Why it is false? What is wrong with that? When it is in case of fail majhul, in case of fail majhul, it becomes naibul file, and in that case, you label it as fi mahalli raf'in. Okay. If you see a statement after kila, if there's a makulul qawl after kila, which is a passive form of qala, you are going to call that statement makulul qawl fi mahalli raf'in naibul file. This one is after ma'loom, so it is fi mahalli nasbin. So what did they say? In hazani lasahirani. In, starting from in, what do you know about this in? In, and look at your words very carefully. And I'm sure all the sisters who are very smart and who are very interested in this session must have figured this out by now. Okay, so some are saying that this means if, and some are saying this is nafia, and some are saying this is mukhaffafa. So there is a lot of different answers. So that means there is a problem. So if there is a problem, how do we solve it? Let's see. Okay. So if your in is there, and you have it followed by a lam, if there is an in that is followed by a lam, can you ever call it nahya? Can you, sorry, nafya? Can it ever be nafya? It can never be Nakia, my dear sisters. So, that is why the reviews and the slides are re-shown to you, or, that is why we are learning Surah Taha. Okay. That was a whole purpose, that, I don't want to teach you few points and then leave you on your own. Okay. Go, put Arab on, Quran. That is why this practice is here, so that we, solidify what we have learned. If you have in and that is followed by lam in the same very sentence, don't call that in nafiya. Don't call it shartiya either. What was the problem if you call it shartiya, my dear sisters? One answer is going to suffice. One answer is going to suffice. Jazm? Okay, jazm. What is jazm here? What is not there? What is not there, which must be there? Okay, very well done. Rabiha, very good job. There is a majzoom, and Faiza then wrote that, majzoom fail is not coming. You are supposed to see, you are supposed to see mudare majzoom after in shartiya, right? Diluba and everyone, my dear sisters, is this making sense, right? That you must see mudare majzoom. Is it always going to be followed by mudare majzoom? What do you think? Is it always going to be? If it is in shartiya, is it going to be always followed by fail mudare majzoom? What do you think? Okay, no. What can also come after fail, after it? What can also come after it? Barakallahu feek. Okay, so that is another option. My sisters are saying from the class that it can be followed by fail madin as well. Okay, very well done. Now, and let me see while I have to find something for you. Okay, I want you to show this example, to look at this example, and that's going to be something interesting that we will be doing. Jor. Okay, Jor is good. Okay, so fail, both fail madin and mudari can come after in shartiya. In ahadum min al mushrikeen astajaraka fa'ajirhu. What kind of in is this one? What do you think? Who can tell me? It is again shartiya. Rabiha, why? What helped you determine that this is again going to be in shartiya? Though you are not seeing this being followed by fail. It is not immediately followed by fail. Yes, one clue was there was a fa in the sentence, that is fa rabita. So Rabiha, what was another clue? What was another clue that you can tell me and the whole class, and you will be the grammar queen for this week? What is another clue in this sentence? Okay, barakallah. Yeah, you can just understand it as such. Yeah, that's also correct, my dear sisters. And if one anyone from the mushrikeen, he asks for help, he asks you for help, fa'ajirhu, then give him refuge. He asked you for pana, for refuge, then you give him refuge. This one, this one, can you call it? This one is fail madin. This one is fail madin. No, jawab is failul amr. Failul amr preceded by fa. So the jumla is going to be fi mahalli jazmin. The failu shart, the coming back to failu shart, because in is has to have a failu shart. Please listen to me very carefully. All my advanced students, and in this class, only advanced students are going to, I think they are only people who were able to thrive. So, in ahadum min al mushrikeen, let me tell you, when you see istajaraka, can you say that there was istajara before it? In istajara ahadum min al mushrikeen fa'ajirhu. Does it make sense? Oh, everyone. If I say in istijara, Sister Faiza, are you with me? If I say istijara ahadum min al mushrikeen, and that ahadum min al mushrikeen is my, if I say in istajara ahadum min al mushrikeen. Does that make sense? It makes sense. I am calling istajara fail madin. Ahadum is going to be my file. Min al mushrikeen is the sifa for ahadum. Right? Jar wal majroor, sifa mahzufa, mutalik bis sifa ahadum. Make sense? Now, what is this istijarak doing here? Can I say that this can be my jumla that we have been covering? You see these kind of sentences with ishtighal. You see this kind of sentences with ishtighal, and those sentences are given special name. No, you are not going to call it that. No, no, Adiba. Call this one jumla tafsiriya. Is it not? Did it not, or jumla mufassira? Did it not help me determine what was omitted from here after, right after in shartiya? Did it? Did I not guess my fail omitted after in shartiya by looking at istajarak? What do you think? I was able to determine that there was some istijara that has been omitted from here just by looking at this sentence. So that istijara, and I want you to think this way. This I was not planning on teaching you this today, but it's just because of one mistake and we just went on another tangent. But qadar Allah, and Allah has his has the perfect wisdom and knowledge, and He is the one who is driving my heart and your hearts in wherever we go. And so I will take it as such. So istijarak is going to be, I'm going to say ahadum min al mushrikeen is file li fele mahzuf istijara. And when I come to istijarak, I will label it as jumla tafsiriya, a descriptive sentence, that sentence that gave me an idea what was omitted after in shartiya, because in shartiya must be followed by felu shart. In shartiya must be followed by felu shart. If it is not there, then I'm going to consider felu shart mahzoof. And ahadum min al mushrikeen file for that felu shart, and istijarak is going to be la mahalla laha min al i'rab jumlatul mufassira. Is this clear? So all the three types of ins. And for those of you who are learning this for the first time, I want you to go back to recording and just try to get to this, that if two people can understand, we are going to make sure we understand what should be your thought process. Everyone, all the advanced students, all intermediate students, please remember one thing. Your thought processes, if there is my in shartiya, if I'm seeing faul rabita, and if my meaning is like a shart meaning, I must have a fail after failu shart after in shartiya. Will you all remember this? It can be either fail madin or mudari. And in some cases, if you, my dear sisters, when I will be sharing my advanced notes for you with you, inshallah, soon on shart, it is going to be in there that sometimes the fail can be omitted, but it must be understood. And in this case, you have a clear jumla to tafsiriya after it, after your ahadum min al mushrikeen, that help you determine what was missing from after in. Okay? So three types of in and three types of lam. Okay. So when we looked at this in, let me go back to the in that we were attempting to do in this very session. So this in is in mukhaffafa. And how do we know this? Min anis thaqila, because there is lam coming after it. We won't call it felu shart. No. You are going to call it jumla tu tafsiriya. And I'm going to if you have still not understood, I'm going to inshallah show you that when we are going to do advanced shart. Okay, advanced conditional sentences. Okay, and if you go back to recording, I think something will make sense. And if you have learned ishtigal with me, If you have gone over ishtigal with me, you will see how we have learned our jumla to tafsiriya, and the same very concept can be applied here as well. Okay, that somehow sometimes fail is omitted, but something is coming after an ism that guides us to the fail, and that jumla is jumla to tafsiriya. Just in case of ishtigal, we know that as-samaa rafa'aha. So how do I know that there was a rafa'a before as-samaa? Because there is a whole sentence that is giving me an idea there was a fail. Rafa'a as-samaa. It is actually rafa'a as-samaa rafa'aha. And rafa'aha is just la mahalla laha min al-i'rab jumlatu tafsiriya. Okay? So coming back to in and lam. In and lam. In is going to be when in and lam are together. There's a formula. There's a formula that we have to follow. In plus lam together are going to be in al-mukhaffafa min an in as-sakila. Okay? This lam, this lam, you have learned the main three types of lam in jumla in your what kind of a sentence? Yeah, you have learned three main types of lams, which are lam tawkid in these kind of sentences. What do you think is the name for this lam? I think somebody already, Sister Faiza already said that it is faraka. Huh? Nini, this is that one. If it was inna, if it was inna, then you will call it muzahalaka. But if it is not inna, call it farika. Call it al farika, because that lam, by being here, helps you differentiate between in in nafiya, sorry, in nafiya and in mukhaffafa. Because the purpose of Islam, the main purpose of Islam being there is that this is helping you figure out that this in is, according to the grammarians, this lam is there to help you determine that this in is in al mukhaffafa. Okay, if it is with, if this lam was coming after inna, the name for it is going to be musahlaka. Okay, clear? Barakallahu feek. Okay, in hadani la sahirani. Most of the time, when in is lightened, it loses its function. You don't see any ism mansoob after it. When you have an inna, what do you see? There is an ism after it that is mansoob. Do you see anything like that? Most of the scholars say that it becomes muhmila. It does not, it stops acting on anything. It stops acting on anything means it does not make anything mansoob. Okay, some say that it still acts, and it acts on damiru shan mahzuf, and it was it who, there was a who here, there was a who here that has been omitted, and in is working on that who. Okay, so how many views are there? How many opinions exist about this in? For the most part, it is muhmila. It has nothing after it. Most grammarians will say that it is muhmila. It has la amala laha. It has no amal. It has no action for itself. Okay? La amala laha. So mostly no action. If no action, you are going to say in muhmila. Okay? And yeah, there is, and the second case is, some scholars say that there was a, it is acting on the mirushan mahzuf, which is who. So it is in innahu, who is there, that it is acting on. And if it is acting on who, and it has an ismu in inna is the mirushan mahzuf, then what will you look for after ismu inna? What have been looking for? We will look for khabru inna, and then this jumla ismiya can be labeled as khabru inna. Type 1 if this is clear to everyone. I'm sure I'm going to not see many ones, but still, I want you to let me know if it is not understood. Let me know either way, so I can repeat myself. Okay, if you're not understanding this concept, let me know. I will be able to help you with that. Okay, so either you just call it in mukhaffafa min an istakila wal muhmila, and it is muhmila as well. And then you don't worry about it, and then you just start labeling hazani la sahirani. If now you come into this hazani la sahirani, this everyone should be able to label. Mubtada hazani is mubtada, right? And la sahirani is going to be the khabar marfu bil aliful musanna. And when you have sahirani, yuridani, how will you connect these two? Is there any way you can connect Mawsuf was Sifa? Now, who can tell me other than Rabiha, other than Rabiha, Faiza, Sister Zohra, um, Dilruba, Diba, somebody else? I want an answer from other sisters. What is there in Yuridani that helped you make this connection that this Jumla failure is a Sifa for Sahirani? Two reasons. What are the two reasons you are calling them Mawsuf and Sifa? Very well done, Azra. There is a pronoun. Very well done. There's a pronoun, Aliful Isnain. Aliful Isnain, that goes back to Sahirani. What is another clue that there can be a Mawsuf Sifa relationship between an ism and a fail that is coming after it? What is the type of an ism that makes you think about complex Mawsuf Sifa? In this case, common ism followed by Jumla failure that has a pronoun in it, which is going to be referring back to that very ism, right? Ayat, the presence of an ayat, the one that returns is Aliful Isnain. It goes back to Sahirani, so that is why we are going to call them Mawsuf Wasifa. The ism was common, followed by fail. That makes our job easy. Yuridani, we already covered that it's a fail, mudare, and file is aliful isnain. An yukhrijakum. An yukhrijakum. What is that? There is an now. An masdariya. An masdariya. And if I have to connect it to whatever has been mentioned before, what do they want? This is going to be labeled as mafulun bihi for yuridani. An yukhrijakum min ardikum. So yukhrija an is an masdariya, yukhrija mudari mansub bi hasfin nun li annahu min al af'al al khamsa, kum maf'ulun bihi, min ardikum jar wal majrur muta'alliq bil fi'l yukhrija, and kum again is majrur bil idafa bisihrihima. This is again jar wal majrur wal idafa. So you can also call it muta'alliq bil, and can it be labeled bisihrihima? Can it be labeled as hal? Yes, I was thinking about that. Can it be? What do you think? How many of you think can this also be called this jar wal majroor can be mutalik bi hal mahzuf? Yeah, right? It can be, yeah, that way labeled as well. Okay. Very well done, my dear sister. How they are going to remove you from your land is by their magic. Okay. So that is why we can call this phrase, this fragment as hal for yukhrija. Wa yazhaba wawat yazhaba is mudare mansub bihasfi nun li annahu min al af'al al khamsa wal fa'il aliful isnain wal fa'il aliful isnain mabni ala sakun fi mahalli raf'a fi mahalli raf'a. Now, my dear sisters, what is making this yazhaba? Yazhaba. Barakallahu feek. Very well done. Because it was ma'tuf. That is why it is mansoob. So no one is going to tell me that this is because of unacting on that very, no. You are going to tell me mansoob bil atf. Is this making sense to you all? It is mansoob because of atf, right? Alhamdulillah. Bi tariqatikum. And they will take away your exemplary ways. Okay, so this is going to be muta'alliq bil yazhaba. No, this one cannot be hal. This one cannot be hal. Why not? So why am I not labeling as hal? Yazhaba bi tariqatikum. No, this one. We are looking at a fragment. We are looking yazhaba. Sister Rabiha is saying Sisters Rabiha is saying, why is this one not hal? But and then she herself answered as direct maful for be yazhaba. Yes, very good job. That it is, it is actually, it is actually mutuaddi bi harf. Remember, zahaba cannot take maful bihi. There has to be a ba with zahaba. So it is going to be just called as mutaalliq bil zahaba. Is this clear? You are just going to call it mutaalliq bil zahaba, my dear sisters. You're so smart. You ask a question and then you answer it yourself. Very proud of you all. Okay, now comes al musla. How are you going to connect it to whatever is before? It is sifa for tariqah. It is sifa for your tariqah, right? Barakallahu feek. Okay, fa ajma'u kaidakum. Okay, we have 3 minutes, and let's just see if we are able to finish, because this page of Usmani Musaf. فَأَجْمَعُوا. So you are going to say, you are calling it ajmi'u. Sorry, it is ajmi'u. Ajmi'u. So it is felul amr. Very well done. And file is going to be wawil jama'a. And every time when you have a standard felul amr, it is going to be antum, because right, we extract our felul amr, the standard felul amr, from our fil mudari, right? So it was tajmi'una that we took it from. So it is going to be antum. Kaidakum is going to be, kaida is going to be ajmi'u bihi. Very well done. Kum is going to be majroor bil idafa. Summa harf atf literahi. E2. Summa, E2. What is E2? It is Amr. Very well done. So you all come Safa, in rows. In rows. How should you all come? In rows. Very well done, my dear sisters. So this is Safa. Seems like masdar. Do you all agree that it seems like a masdar word? If I'm not mistaken, it spells like a masdar word. And in for masdar, it does not have to conform to gender and number. You all remember that? You don't need to change the number and the gender of masdar. Always remember that, okay? If you have forgotten, still, make sure you have that in mind. وَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْيَوْمَ مَنِ اسْتَعْلَى. وَقَدْ, can we say that it can be istinaf or hal? Okay, I will take it as a good answer. Qad is going to be harf tahqiq for the emphasis of jumla fi'liya madin. Aflaha fi'l madin. Well, okay, fi'l madin. Mabni al fatha al yawma. What is al yawma? It is zarf, so it is going to be muta'alliq bil fi'l, right? It is going to be labeled as muta'alliq bil fi'l. Man. Man is of three types: Mausula, Istifhamia, Shartiya. And indeed, he succeeded today. Whoever is high, or is really good. So it is Mausula here. Very well done. It is connecting whatever is before to whatever is after it. So, and it is man. Man here is an outside doer for aflaha. And if it is Mausula, after every Mausul, we should look for Silatul Mausul. And Silatul Mausul in this case is Fail Madin. La mahalla laha min al-i'rab wal fa'il damir mustatir huwa. Everyone got it? Okay. So with that, I will have to end the session because the time is up. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Okay.